Stay tuned and let's check out this Marvel Legends Odin. Ciao and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember now you can hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we continue celebrating 85 years of Marvel with this summer program. As in front of me today, we have Odin, who is essentially a super deluxe, as this is a massive box full of accessories and interchangeable pieces. We even get a couple of ravens we have seen before, but it is a much needed update for the All-Father and our overall Asgardian displays. He looks very nice. So of course, celebrating 85 years of Marvel, we've got a picture of Odin on the side, that same image on the back, which the figure is actually based off this design. And you can see down here it says original art illustration by Ryan Stegman. So that is where the design comes from. We also get a write-up that says Odin, King of Asgard, uses his immense wisdom and skills as a warrior to defend the realms as the All-Father. So I'm sure he will be a new centerpiece for our Asgardian setups. So let's get them open. So here we have Odin out of the packaging with all those accessories laid out on the table. I like that he has 3 different display options for the headpiece, as you can either have completely unhelmeted head that we get out the packaging, and then you get 2 different styles of crowns which take inspiration from different places in the comics. So you can definitely pick your preference. Same with the weapons. He comes with a spear. Now this is just the reissue of the spear we got with the very first Odin Build-A-Figure, so that's a callback. This sword, however, may be new. He comes with 2 gripping hands out of the packaging, so we can hold both if you really want to. You also get some couple of hands, a fisted hand and an open palm hand, and then his ravens, which make a lot more sense with Odin, of course, as they are his ravens, but we have got them before. They are just reissues from the Herald Thor. So let me move these all out the way and get the tape measure out, because Odin is a chunky boy, and you can see he is 8.5 inches in height and about just over 5, maybe 5.5 in sort of width. So he is going to be imposing no matter who you're displaying with on the shelf. It also comes with that soft goods cape, which I completely forgot about. Now I do think Legends are heading in the right direction, trying to implement stuff like this in the line. And if you're just going to have him standing neutral on the shelf, then that sort of sitting flat is absolutely fine. But I think we would appreciate the option to pose this with a bendy wire through it to make some really dramatic displays and just make it come to life a little bit more. So again, heading in the right direction, but not perfect. But I'm glad it's there rather than not, because those plastic capes, especially for these bigger, chunkier characters, make it very limiting. So that's definitely going to stop any hindrance, and it also allows you to show off all the nice detail on his armor, because that is the highlight of this Odin. It is really nicely sculpted. He's a bigger, chunkier character with the single jointed arms and then double jointed elbows, wearing the big boot, so he's completely pinless, but the actual sculpt is really nice. Let's take a closer look. A trademark of Odin is of course his eye patch. So you've got a gold sculpted eye patch that actually has some nice battle damage on. There's some really nice texturing going on throughout this figure of battle damage. It gives the figure a lot more character. This Odin hasn't just been sat around on a throne at Asgard. He has been front and center in the battles, and this figure definitely represents that. As you get a closer look, there's scrapes and scratches all over this, but look at all the different textures. You've got like this furry texture up top draped over the shoulders. You got like this coppery chainmail on the chest. You got these blue, metallic blue chains, this sort of Asgardian logo and runes all sculpted down the front of the figure. Really nicely done in this sort of burnt, bruised copper. Again, even the sort of metallic blue and gold just really do work with some nice sculpted detail. These like bones on the knees, bones going down the boots. Remember, these boots were originally leaked those months ago, so we sort of had a hint that Odin was coming. Again, more of those bones on the arms, and again, all this battle damage and scrapes and scratches and scars all over this armor. So he has definitely been in the trenches, which I really like. Even if I spin it around, lift up the cape, they don't skimp on the details on the back either. So wait until you get this in hand so you can really zoom in for yourself and check out all these little details and little nuggets. But yeah, tons of texture, tons of sculpted detail, really, really nicely done. Highly detailed here. And again, all these runes are like sculpted to touch. You can feel it. These shoulder pads are on a separate piece, so they're not going to hinder the articulation, helps with posing. But what I like is that you can actually remove the cape as well. If I actually just remove this sort of furry sculpted piece up top, it actually reveals his long hair, which is keeping his cape sort of flush on the body, which I like. And then instead of an interchangeable head, you get interchangeable head pieces, including hair and crowns. So let's remove the top hair piece, like so. So now we have bold Odin, and you can see here, you can literally just remove the cape like so. So if you wanted to upgrade your cape with a soft good sort of bendy wire cape, you absolutely could. But I'm going to put all this back on so we can see our different head options. So as I said, one Odin head with different head pieces. So here we have our unhelmeted, our no crown head sculpt with just his grey hair on show. That grey beard is also so flush against the body, it looks like it's sculpted all one piece, but it is actually attached to the head. Like if I lift that up, it does give you some clearance, so you can see the beard is attached to the head sculpt. And again, that is a hair piece that is tucked underneath our furry texture. So we just plug that off at the shoulders like I've already showed you, and we can remove his hair piece. Now we can just add on one of his other crowns. I'll do this one for now. I'll zoom out in a moment. So you just plug that in to the head, and then you can attach the furry piece back on the shoulders so it drapes over to complete the look. So now if I zoom out a little bit, zoom out, do that. This is definitely my mind's eye of Odin, I think. It definitely gives me those sort of Viking vibes with the big horns. So there you go. There's a 360 look. You don't get the grey hair coming out the back of the helmet. Really nice. It's got the gold on it. It's got a bit of black. And again, really nice bone texture. And again, more scratches and scars. Someone's definitely hit this with a sword or two. So that is our second option. We do have one more. And this one is a very luxurious crown with some hair coming out the back. So let me plug that one on. And you know what? This might actually be my favourite. I can't decide between this one and then the sort of regular horn version. This one is very elaborate. I don't quite know the exact sort of character reference. This could be inspired for like the Contest of Champions game or something. Let me know in the comments below if you know the reference for these particular helmets. But anyway, they are really, really nice. This one is just done in that sort of metallic gold. Really nice, really regal. This one does have the grey hair sticking out the back that you just tuck under again. So yeah, you have your 3 different display options for Odin. Let's have a look at all 3. So you have your regular sort of grey hair, no helmet Odin. And then you have your more Viking style long horns Odin. And then we have our elaborate crown Odin. So 3 different display options, 3 different display pieces for the head. Which is your favourite? Which one are you going to use for your main display? Let me know in the comments. I think I've decided that this is actually my favourite after all, as it definitely gives more classic vibes with the Viking inspired horns. So out of the packaging, he comes with 2 gripping hands, and that is so he can hold his weapons. First weapon you have seen before, it is the same spear that came with that original Odin Build-A-Figure. It's also came with characters like Namor, always been very long. Now it's done in the gold, which is a nice sort of contrast to the gold metallic his actual figure is in. And because he's so big and chunky, he can hold that no problem at all. So there's his actual spear, and it will just sort of fit flush on the floor as well. His second one is the sword. Now I think this is new. You've got the nice sort of chrome blade, and then you've got the hilt done in that sort of copper with some nice sculpted gold pieces with a little bit of blue on there as well. So it is a nice sort of attention to detail, nice sort of complement to his actual armor. So yeah, that can go in the other gripping hand. So of course you can have him dual wielding if you want to, or you can just pick your favorite weapon, but he will hold them both if you desire. He also has some different hands, which, as I mentioned, is one fisted hand for punching frost giants and then another one for grabbing and choking frost giants. So a few different display options. Let's zoom out a little bit and just quickly look at the articulation. Now, the head and beard are so flush on the body, you're not really going to get him looking forward, but without the hairpiece on this helmet, you can get him looking up a little bit, and it is on a ball joint, so you do have the swivel for the head as well. The arms are not hindered at all by this shoulder piece. As I said, that's a separate piece of plastic that will ride around the shoulder, though they will go up to 90. There's a bicep swivel and a single jointed elbow, hindered a little bit by how thick the actual gauntlet is on his forearm. But yeah, nice articulation on the arms. The actual ball joint is underneath his bout piece, so it does allow you for some tilt, for some swivel, some back. Definitely more back than forward. When you start leaning them forward, all of his equipment sort of gets tucked in together and makes it a little bit limiting. So definitely more back and tilt and swivel than forward. The legs are what you would expect. They can come out of the skirt piece, but limiting. You've got the double jointed knees, but you can only really get just the single because of how thick the boots are, but there is a thigh cut as you would expect. And is there a boot swivel? No boot swivel, but you do get standard ankle pivot and rocker. He's a big sturdy character, so he can sort of hold his own weight with poses, so I don't mind that at all. So I do think people are going to have some fun with this guy. He moves a lot for a big chunky character. Let's check out those Odin ravens. Now, I always feel like I'm playing a game of Buckaroo when I'm trying to pose these ravens on a figure. It was the same with that Herald Thor. These are exactly the same, but I do think they have like a blue sort of shimmer on them, so maybe a little bit of extra paint detail. Otherwise, the same molded pieces of plastic. Two ravens, human and mumin, I think, or something like that. So again, I'm playing Buckaroo. I'm balancing them on Odin, but they probably won't last if I sneeze anywhere in the proximity, so hold your breath. But yeah, we got one without the wings folded, and then the other one with the wings on display. So they look nice if you can pose them up, but again, if you pick them up and start wobbling them in, they will fall off straight away. But it's a nice touch. So lots of display options for Odin, and he does pose up pretty nicely in a nice battle pose, mixing around those hands and weapons. All the hands have the right articulation in, as well as the sword wielding hand does have the up and down hinge, which helps for poses. So yeah, again, you can remove the cape if you really don't like that, and you still get all the details on the back as well, but I don't mind it draping down on the side. So yeah, this Odin is really nice. Let's get some comparisons on the go. And would you look at that, the first comparison had to be with the old school All-Father Build-A-Figure from way back in the day, probably about a decade ago now, to be honest. And look how far Legends have come. The only thing they have in common is the spear, and I think the Legends team threw that spear in as a tribute to this old Build-A-Figure, but it does fit this new one a lot better scale wise than it did the old one. The old one was sort of really hard to stand up. It had the clunky sort of capes as well. It did have the interchangeable pieces though, where you could have the metal arm and then the sort of unhelmeted head, so I may still find a place for it on the display, but there is no disputing anything out there. This new Odin is absolutely the best Marvel Legends Odin we have. It is the best Odin figure we have in plastic, full stop, period. Am I wrong? Here we have Odin compared to the Destroyer armor, which he has wore in the comics, but I don't mind it being a little bit taller here, as it should be tall and imposing as that sort of mystic Asgardian armor. So I'm absolutely fine with it just being a smidgen taller. I guess you could try popping off the head and putting it on this one, but I'm not even going to bother, as I'm going to display both of these as they are. I think they look nice. Here we have Odin compared to his two sons, both Thor and Loki. I think these three look great together. I think they scale great together, but I definitely think with this new Odin, Legends have raised the bar now, and we need a new updated Thor and Loki to sort of match the quality of Odin. Both of these on old pinned bodies, so we definitely need new pinless versions at the bare minimum, but there are some improvements that can be made. They're fine placeholders, great representations of the characters by all means, but I definitely think we can raise the bar a little bit. So this will do for now, but let's get new versions. I wanted to do a female comparison, so here we have the Asgardian lady Sif. That makes a lot of sense, but then Black Widow on the new body, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But there are some more females we need in our Asgardian display. I'm talking about a new comic Hela, a new comic Enchantress. What other Asgardian females are we missing for our collection? Let me know in the comments below. And just to reiterate how big Odin is, he towers above both Death's Head and Ronan the Accuser. Another one to show off scale, the only sort of Hulk related character I had in my proximity. But as you can see, Odin is about the same height, so these two can definitely go toe for toe. And go and check out my review on the channel for Lockjaw and Crystal. Really nice set, slowly getting closer to completing that Inhumans royal family. I've also reviewed this brand new Kang and his time chair throne, and you can see Odin is so tall he can have a nice conversation with Kang even while he's in his throne. And let's wrap up with some of the Who crew. So we have Frogman, Tigra and Hydra Bob, and then last but never least we have Captain Britain and Hal Fire Hank. So, final thoughts on this Marvel Legend celebrating 85 years of Marvel. Odin. Honestly, this is a great representation of the figure. Really nicely detailed with some really nice sculpt work and display options. Like, he's going to be impressive on display. How can he not be your Asgardian centerpiece on the shelf? Honestly, so much detail on this guy. You will not be disappointed. So let me know in the comments below what your favorite headpiece is, as they take inspiration from different places, as I mentioned. Curious to know your thoughts. But as always, if you like Marvel Legends, then wow, you're in the right place. Check out the videos tab, find the playlists, but most importantly, please, please, please hit that subscribe button, hit all on the notification bell, don't miss out on a video, and please hit that join button, become a channel member, either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Don't be shy, get involved with a live stream, support the channel, beyond the channel. It's so simple. You can follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. I'm on Twitter or X, whatever you call it, at Dan Who Reviews. My name is Dan W, and I will of course see you on the next one.